My story started probably like 7 years ago. I started having what they call microhematuria, which is small amounts of blood in my urine. I agreed that I would do a CAT scan. They found a mass in my right kidney. It's in the calyx of the kidney, which is in the center of the kidney, which is where all the urine collects. So this is not something you can do with a needle biopsy. To biopsy this, you have to actually go into the bladder, up the ureter, and into the calyx to take a piece of tissue to get a biopsy of this thing. So, of course, I had to go under general anesthesia to do this, and being an anesthesiologist, this did not make me extremely happy, but I didn't really see another way out of this. So I agreed to have this procedure, and I woke up from the procedure. This was back in, I had the procedure in January of 2016. And I woke up in excruciating pain, and I've had 3 children by C-section. I know pain. I've never had pain like this in my entire life. Turns out they were never able to get up into the kidney. They jammed instruments up my ureter for 3 hours and never got up there and never got the biopsy, but they had done enough damage that they had to put a stent in. Do you know what a stent is? It's a dilating tube that allows the urine to drain. And I had to live with this stent for 2 weeks until they could try to come back and do it again. So in the meantime, I was on enough Valium and Dilaudid that most people would have been dead. I was taking, I'm literally weigh maybe 55 kilograms, and I was on 40 milligrams of Valium and 8 milligrams of Dilaudid a day, which literally would make most people dead. And I was not in any relief. I was absolutely in so much pain, could not get any sleep, wasn't sleeping, whatever. Went back, had the procedure done again. They were able to get up the second time, but they had to leave a stent in afterwards because there had been damage to the ureter. And so I lived with that stent for a while. The good news was the biopsy came back and it was benign. So I did not have cancer, but I'd had all this trauma to my body. Not to go into too many details, in addition to that, I had every complication you can have from this procedure except for infection, death, heart attack, and stroke, and literally every single complication. And my body was so depleted and horrible, and by the end of this period, I decided I was going to fire my medical team. I was really disgusted with the way I was being taken care of. My husband travels a lot for his work, and so he'd been off of work pretty much for 5 weeks, and he ended up taking me to go stay with my parents. I had to go live with my parents for 6 weeks in Ohio while I was recovering because I couldn't be left by myself. And in that time, I had contacted somebody else to take care of me. I was putting myself in touch with a functional medicine person who started me with a naturopath and a behavior modification specialist to help me do this. And she's the one who turned me on to Dr. Joe. She told me to download onto my phone this app where I could do some meditation and help myself heal myself. And so at first I started listening to his meditations, and I was like, well, what is this stuff? Your space between your eyes. I'm thinking, all I can think of is my neuroanatomy, and I'm thinking there's stuff there. There's no space. There's structures there. And it really wasn't working for me. So I started reading his book to kind of understand what his thinking was. And it really clicked for me because I understand the science of what he's doing. And that really spoke to me as a doctor. Once I read the book and I kind of understood what I was doing, because in the beginning, it would just be like fleeting moments. I would have moments of being pain-free, but the pain would always come back. And then when I read the book and I looked at those brain scans and I thought, okay, I understood a little bit better how, you want to adapt an elevated emotion to an intention, and you have to kind of put this all together. And I couldn't meditate for longer than 10 or 15 minutes at a time. I was really not able even to sit up that long. So I started doing more meditation where I would have the intention of, I'm healed, I'm a healthy person, I'm whole, I'm worthy. Every day I was getting a little bit stronger, doing more meditation, more stuff, believing more and more that I could heal myself. In the meantime, I'd also heard about, and this is relevant to what happened here, there was a beautiful dogwood tree outside my parents' apartment building, and I had heard that the trees are very loving and forgiving, and they will accept your illness and your energies if there's problems and stuff, that you can ground yourself with the trees. So any day that it wasn't raining, I managed to drag myself outside and stand by this tree as long as I could stand up, and I would hug the tree and download whatever energy I didn't need onto the tree. So, and that was extremely healing for me. Eventually I was able to get back to Georgia, get back to Atlanta. I did go to Dr. Joe's progressive workshop in Atlanta, which I found really great and inspired me to keep going. I did not miss a day of meditation since February of last year. I decided I was just committed to doing this, and if I had to meditate every single day, that's what I was going to do. I never went back to those doctors again. I never went back to the urologist. I just was like gone. I don't want to deal with these people anymore. I found a new doctor who I see once a year for my Western medical stuff, and the rest of the time I am dealing with my health myself. I've given, this meditation my greatest efforts. I do it every day religiously. If I have to catch a plane at 6 a.m., I'll get up at 1 a.m. and do my meditation. That's what I do. I'm pretty committed to it. And I have noticed slowly but surely that things are getting better, but it was never 100%. The morning that we did the walking meditation here, I decided that was sort of like the next step for me, literally. When he was in the meditation talking about literally walking in the body of a person who is healed, I walked in the body of the person who was healed. And I don't know, there was something transformative about that. And I was finished with the meditation. I was feeling just kind of almost trance-like, and walked up the hill, and I saw this palm tree. And this palm tree was like calling me the same way the dogwood tree had called me in Ohio. And I stood by the tree, and it was leaning up a little bit, and it was leaning towards the water. And I just leaned up against it, and I had all my energy centers kind of lined up on the tree. And I just felt this amazing rush from my second and third and first energy centers rushed into the tree, and then my whole body started to shake, like I was uncontrollably shaking. And every single pain that I ever had just went away out of those places. And I just started to sob with such gratitude and gratefulness for this tree and this meditation and this whole experience. And so here's the other part that was kind of amazing. The day before, or 2 days before, we talked about manifesting something. So the thing that I had written down was, I wanted to manifest a turtle with an intricate design on its back. So I'm standing by this tree, I'm sobbing hysterically, and this woman comes up to me and she starts to hug me. And she's hugging me and just helps me kind of come back to myself. And I looked at her lanyard that was on her neck, and I said, "Oh, that's such a pretty color. What is that for?" She goes, "Oh, I'm a turtle." And I said, "What? You're a turtle?" And she said, "Yes, I'm a turtle." And she was wearing a shirt that had a beautiful, intricate design on its back. I'm like, "Oh my God, you are my turtle. You are my turtle. I have manifested my turtle at the same time by this palm tree that, I mean, what are the odds?" So and it's been several days. I have not had any pain, has not returned. It's all gone. And then the other thing that I just noticed this morning when Dr. Joe's talking about how when you do the healing, well, that was the other thing. I had signed up for healing, but after that day I told our team leader, I said, "Take my name off the list. I don't need to be healed. Let somebody else who needs to be healed be healed." I wanted to do the healing. So I noticed after today, so I had carpal tunnel surgery several years ago, and I'd always had a trigger finger in this hand, and I just decided after that surgery, I'm not having any more surgery. This is gone. And I just noticed it this morning. It's gone. So the healing that we're doing for other people is also healing us. And it's true, it really is. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I will continue to do my meditations because I've got more things to do.